This tutorial is for people who have never used Toon Boom Harmony Premium 22 before. Now, in coming up editions, maybe Harmony 23, things are going to be mostly the same, but they may be slightly different, and I will try to update this as years go by. So, at the very beginning, when you open Harmony Premium, you're going to get this splash screen right here that says create a new scene. And the defaults are pretty good. We're going to stick to that for everything that we do. I want you to notice in the name, there are no spaces. Right now it says new scene. That's the default name that it gives to it. We want to rename it, but I want to show you what happens when you add a space. So I put my cursor between new and scene. I'm going to press the space bar on my keyboard. Boop. And you'll see there's an underscore. Harmony does not allow for spaces in names at all. So it always adds an underscore in place of it. You could either leave it out as it's done here, or you can add it and it will replace it with an underscore. For this one, I'm just going to call this setup, and that is fine for right now. And then I'm going to click create scene, the button to the right of where it says name. Go ahead and pause the video and do that yourself and set that up. It's going to take a second, depending on how fast or slow your computer is. But now what you have is you have several spaces to work in. This is a default workspace. It says restore default workspace. There are different types of workspaces by going to workspace, and you see animation, compositing, default, hand-drawn scripting. We are going to stick with default. Now, if you want to change the look of your space, we're going to look at all of these different areas that I'm pointing to here at some point. Let's say you want to change it. If you go in between the spaces right here, you get this double arrows going to the left and to the right. In this case, I could click and drag it over to the left. Over here, it goes up and down. So you could click and drag that up and down. I want you to go ahead, pause the video, give that a try, and then restart the video. Now, if you have a problem and you make something completely disappear, like let's say I just click that out and make that disappear, and I just kind of mess everything up, and you want to come back to that default workspace, go to Windows, the drop-down menu called Windows. It's called drop-down because when you click on anything at the top of the screen, by the way, this is a Mac computer. There's also Windows computers. They look a little different at the top, but they still have all of these file, edit, view, play, etc. You go to Windows, a menu drops down. So we call it a drop-down menu. Go to Workspace. Oh, sorry, right above Workspace, it says Restore Default Workspace. Go ahead and click on that, and you'll see in a second here, it will go right back to that original workspace that I had. Now, before we really get into too much, I want to do a couple of things here. Go to the very top here. On a Mac computer, you click on Harmony Premium and go down to Preferences. I think on the Windows computer, it is under Edit, but if you have a hard time finding it, just go to Help and type Preferences, and you could click there. It'll show you where it's at. So I'm going to go over here to where it says Harmony Premium next to the Apple logo, and then I'm going to click on Preferences. The first thing I want you to do in this dialog box here is come down to where it says Autosave. So I'm going to wiggle my mouse right there, Autosave. And below that, it has a checkbox that says Save Scene Automatically. I'm going to click on that. The default is interval of 10 minutes. I'm actually going to knock that down to 2. Every 2 minutes, I want it to automatically save without me having to think about it. Now, in the world of entertainment and generally when you're working on computers or graphic design or things like that, we often say, make a change, save a change. And if you want to save something on your own, you could do Command S. So you hold down Command and then you click on S. Now, the next thing I want to show you is actually back in Preferences right there. We're going to look for, there's focus on mouse enter. It's over on the right side, options here in this section. Go to the very far right and the top, it says focus on mouse enter. I'm going to come back to clicking this so I could show you the difference. So I'll click cancel. If I'm here and my mouse is right here, I don't know why it got mad at me for a second. It says you cannot be there. When you click on it, an area, it's outlined in red. It means I'm working in this area. Then I could come over here and I have to click. But as I move my mouse, this stays red up here. It does not turn red up here. When I go to Harmony Premium and I click on Preferences here and then click on Options, focus on mouse enter right here, I'm going to check that and click OK. What happens is as I move to the area, I'm not clicking at all. I'm just moving my mouse into these different areas. It automatically focuses on that area. So we want to stick with that idea. The last couple of things I want to show you before we end this tutorial is in this main area right here, you'll see a little, it depends on your computer what you're going to see, but you see that little thin black line right up at the top right here and at the bottom. This is actually a rectangle. This is what the camera view is going to see. As you can see at the top here, there's a little tab that says camera and there's drawing. We'll come back to that in another lesson. I'm going to zoom out. Now, zoom out is 1. You press 1 on your keyboard. So you click that. I'm pressing it, pressing. I'm zooming out, and you see that rectangle get smaller. And then if I press 2, it zooms in. It gets bigger and bigger. What this rectangle is it does not exist in your final output of your movie. It just shows you this is the area. Anything that's in this drawing is going to be seen by the camera. So I, for instance, am going to create an ellipse. I'll do a red outline on that, and I'm going to click and drag. The part on the right side here, the part on the right side would not be seen by the camera. Only the part on the left side would be seen by the camera because it's within this rectangle. And one of the things that a lot of people think is, well, I'm just going to draw in this rectangular area. That is not the best idea. What you want to be able to do is draw beyond the area, because if you have a large room, let's say I'm going to change this to a rectangle and I'll give it a fill of red right there. I'll have to use my paint bucket tool to fill that. Okay, so this is your room right here. And over on the right side, you may have, I don't know, let's say a bed. And I'm going to fill that as green right there. You have a bed right here. Some actions are happening over here, but then you want to pan over to the right and see the bed. That needs to exist outside of the box. So make sure when you're creating your drawings that you draw beyond the scope of the camera, because the camera will move, and you are going to learn that a lot later. That's not a good place to start. Last thing I want to show you is you'll notice that I'm able to move around, like move left and right. What I do when you see this hand up here, that hand right there, boop, boop. What I'm doing is I press the space bar and I hold it on my keyboard and I click and drag left and right. Now, this is a quick way to actually use this tool right here. You'll see over on the left side, there's a hand. If I click on that, then I don't have to hold the space bar, but I actually really like this function on the shortcut keys on the keyboard. I just press and hold that down and I click left and right. So make sure that you practice, try all that before you move on to the next tutorial video. Don't forget to subscribe and like.